Good evening, welcome to drinknectar.com. I am your host, Josh Wade, and this is the internet's place to explore the 5 senses of coffee and wine. And tonight we're going to do a quick coffee review episode. I want to give a shout out to the Washington Redskins, who happen to actually have won a game for the 4th time this year. I believe the last time they won was the last time I did a coffee review. So this might be a trend that we see where I do some coffee reviews every time the Redskins win. But we'll see how that goes. So tonight we're going to review a couple of wines. Been doing that a lot. A couple of coffees from a roaster in Bellingham, Washington called Moka Joe, M-O-K-A-J-O-E. And these guys only deal in 100% organic, fair trade, sustainably grown coffee. And you ask yourself, why does that matter? You know, for me, I'm not an environmentalist by any means, but I think that it's important to buy 100% fair trade coffee for the reason that it's the right thing to do. A lot of the coffee that comes into the United States is manipulated and owned by Middle East religious groups that really take a lot of the profits, and the farmers that are involved receive very little, like pennies on the dollar. So we're going to review 2 items here, both from Moka Joe. One is a from Peru, and the other is from Bolivia. Both are in the northern part of South America, over on the west coast. Peru is on the western side of the Pacific Ocean there, and then Bolivia is just inland, bordering Peru. So you get kind of a geographical perspective there. I've done both of these in the exact same format through a French press, using 4 tablespoons of ground coffee, freshly ground coffee. It's always important to ground your coffee as close to the time that you're going to use it as possible, and then you just let it steep here for about 4 minutes. Over here on my right, your left, we have the coffee that is grown in Bolivia, and it's a medium dark roast. And it should be interesting to see just the differences in color and in smell, just the textures that come off. Over here on the left, my left, your right, we have the coffee that is grown in Peru. And this is a medium roast, which I can definitely tell right away just from the color that's coming off. So we're going to look at these both individually, and you can see we'll start with the Peru coffee. This is a medium roast coffee. You can see the color is more on the chocolate side, milk chocolate side of brown there. Imagine that coffee that's brown. So we can't give it the swirl or else we'd have a major mess here, but that is the evidence of the swirl. And then we'll go ahead and give it the sniff. It's not a super aromatic coffee per se, that when you just wake up in the morning and this was brewing, that you're going to be overwhelmed by the smells that are coming out from your coffee pot. But there are hints of a little bit of a mocha flavor in there, very earthy smelling, not super strong. So let's go ahead, that's the sniff, let's give it the sip. It's actually a really smooth coffee. It doesn't have a lot of bold flavors to it. For me, I like coffee that is bold and strong and rich and going to put hair on my chest. So if you like coffee that's more mellow, and if you're going to be treating it with milk and flavoring anyway, then it really is going to be different by the time you're done with it anyway. It's a decent cup of coffee. It wouldn't necessarily be my first choice when it comes to a coffee that I prefer, because it is just a little on the mellow side. And give the Bolivian coffee, which is a little bit darker. You can see it just coming right off there, the color, hopefully that comes up on the camera. You can obviously see that it is slightly darker, and this is using the exact same amount of roasting ground coffee there. So this is the Bolivian coffee. It's a medium dark roast. This has a lot more flavor to it, or a lot more smell to it, I should say. This coffee would definitely fill up the house with a nice aroma when you're waking up. I get kind of some cherry fruit, just that dark, just a little bit of a hint of a cherry fruit that's coming off there. Very woodsy. And a little bit of a mocha flavor that's coming off in there. Just the smell that's coming up is a little chocolatey. So let's give it the sip now. That coffee has a lot more flavor coming through. It is more reminiscent of what I would enjoy from a really bold perspective. Wouldn't go at the extreme of a bold Sumatra, but it is definitely not as mellow as the Peru medium roast. The Bolivian coffee has a lot more flavors that are coming through. Gives you something of intrigue and interest when you're waking up in the morning. It kind of helps you to perk up, if you will. Definitely a coffee that, for me, I would go back and purchase. Both of these coffees were bought at the local Spokane Rocket Market up there on 43rd and Grand. And for me, it was kind of an interesting test because I've never had Moka Joe. And if I was going to be buying this on a regular basis, I would want to know, of the different varieties they had available to me, the different roasts they had available, which would I pick? And I think that as a consumer, you might be in the same boat, especially if you're in Spokane, Washington, or in the inland Northwest where you have Moka Joe available too. If you like a more mellow blend of coffee, then go for the Peruvian blend. If you like a more, not quite as bold as the Sumatra, but if you like something with more interest and intrigue, then I would encourage you to go for the Bolivian coffee. Like I said, both of these are organically grown, 100% fair trade, sustainably grown coffees. So you're doing a good thing when you purchase these. Life is always meant to be enjoyed with friends, and there's nothing like enjoying life with friends over a good cup of coffee. So I want to encourage you, to follow us on Twitter at Nectar Wine on Twitter, and you can always, hit us up on our website at drinknectar.com. So go out, brew yourself a fresh cup of coffee, and drink happy.